Hello. For those of you getting on with us, if you'll go ahead and mute yourselves as you get on, we will have a chance at the end for you to speak or ask questions. I think Sherilyn will also ask you some questions during tonight's training. Hi, Marilyn.
Hi.
How are you tonight?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, Lori. And Dennis disappeared. I saw him, and now he's gone. Maybe.
I see Tanner.
There's Alan. Oh, look. The spots are going to get filled up. If you're just joining us, go ahead and mute yourself so that there's not any reverberation from the speaker. Thank you very much.
Did you say to mute it?
Yes, ma'am. There's a little microphone at the bottom of your screen. Yep, just click on that.
Okay, got it.
Thank you. Glad to see lots of Plexi peeps on tonight. Waiting on Sherilyn. There's Sherilyn. Hello. I bet I can't hear you. You do your sound?
Hello. I got my sound.
Awesome.
Yay. Okay. Do you want to start or me, Jen?
Yeah, I'll introduce you and then we'll get started. Okay, so we have, I know we're going to have a few more people join us, but good evening and thank you for taking part in, this is actually week 3 of our Silver Star Boot Camp for the month of June. I feel like we have seen, we have about 30 ambassadors that have joined our team since the beginning of June, which is great. And it's a sign of all y'all's hard work. I'm super proud. There's, I think 5 people have turned silver in the month of June so far on our team. So very excited for that. I'm also super excited tonight that we have Sherilyn Jameson, who is a gold ambassador out of State College, Pennsylvania, sharing with us tonight. She did an awesome job this morning of talking about follow-up. You want to be ready to take some notes. She's going to ask for audience participation, and I will let her go ahead and get started.
Great, thanks. We're going to talk tonight about fortune is in the follow-up. If you've been around Plexus for a little while, then you know that that's kind of a key phrase. And I think one of the main reasons that's true comes from one of the statistics that Jen shared on a post recently. And the statistic is that 80% of salespeople, 80% of sales are made on the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th contact. And so if that's true, think about the reverse. The reverse is true also. You probably are not going to make a sale on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th contact. You might, but maybe not. One of the reasons that I believe that's true is because people need time. People need time to process what you're telling them, what you're educating them on. People need time to let their guard down. Sometimes that's skepticism, and sometimes that's a financial decision. You never know exactly what people are thinking, but they need time to work through some of those things. They need time to not be distracted. How many of you know how easily life can be distracting? And sometimes when we approach them, it's just a season, a time in their life that's just not a great time for them to process and make decisions. They also need time, I believe, to get fed up. Fed up either with how sick and tired they feel, or fed up with their weight. And so I think that's one of the main reasons, there are many, but one of the big reasons why we continue to post consistently every single day, because we never know who's watching. And while people need that time, while they're taking that time to process through those things, we're educating them and wooing them in to understand the truth and the benefit about Plexus, both the product and the business, okay? I want you to take just a minute. You don't have to respond to this one, but think about how long it took you to respond and say yes and take a leap of faith with Plexus, the product or the business. A lot of you on here tonight, you are someone that I recruited, and I know that it took you a long time. But even if it didn't, for most people, it takes them time. So what we do is we tend to make that be about us. We think that's some form of rejection of us, but it's really about them and that they need extra time. So the next thing I think that really helps with follow-up is to keep some kind of running list in front of you all the time. Now, everybody is wired so differently, and I tend to be a hard copy person. So you won't be able to read this specifically, and there's no reason to do that, but here's a hard copy of how I keep track of people who are interested. I just cleaned this up last night, crossed off names of people who had ordered or joined, or one of them says no with a big explanation point. They made it very clear, don't bother me. So, and once I get a hard, fast no, I leave them alone, at least for a while, because you never know. But I have two up here that are still here. It's a mother and daughter, and I have dates going back all the way to October of 14, clear up until the end of April 15, sorry. And then I added two from yesterday. The system doesn't matter other than that it works for you. It works according to the way you're wired. I always have on my refrigerator a list of at least, I usually have more, but at least 3 customers that I'm actively recruiting and 3 ambassadors that I'm actively recruiting. But my list on the refrigerator isn't the best place to keep notes. It tells me the last time I talked to them, the last time I reached out to them, maybe sometimes this one didn't have as many, but maybe what we talked about, okay? So find a system to keep track of people and keep it in front of you all the time. And put everybody on it. I talked to a girl on Saturday at a baby shower. She used to live here, no longer lives in State College. I knew we were Facebook friends, but I'm once in a great while on her wall. I had no idea she was on mine. And guess what the first thing is she said to me? Oh, you're really into Plexus, which is another reason why we post consistently. So people believe that you're really into it, and they might bring it up without you having to bring it up. And she immediately, when I was talking to her, I thought, I've got to get her onto my list. The other one at the bottom of my list, interestingly, is a customer who quit, but not a customer who was disgruntled or didn't feel like the product worked. It's a customer of great success, and he and his wife decided they were going to put money towards doing some minor renovations in their house, so he quit for a while. Well, I didn't know exactly what that was all about, but in a conversation with him at church on Sunday, I found out it was to put their money somewhere else. So I planted the seed and said, if you ever want to know how to get your product at a greater discount, you want to start this back up in the fall, let me know. And I'm thinking, I got to get him on my list and make sure the end of August, middle of August, I reach back out to him and say, hey, did you do those renovations? Do you want to, know how you can get your product cheaper? Put everyone on there. There is a gal that I'm actively recruiting, hopefully for the business, maybe the product will come first, but we have not had I have not had a lot of luck with her, and I've been working on her since last June. And there's a part of me that wants to say, okay, give up. This isn't going to work. But I keep her on here and just keep going back to that. You and I all know that it's really easy for people to slip off our radar because we too get distracted. And so you want to always have that list. When I have nothing else to do, when I sit down to do my Plexus work, which is rare, but when I'm looking for things to do, I go to that list and I inevitably think, oh my gosh, I forgot about so-and-so. I need to reach out to them. Okay? I am reading a book by John Maxwell called How Successful People Think. For some of you who know I've been reading this for a while, you're thinking, wow, you're a slow reader. But it is taking me a while to work through it. But he quotes a man by the name of William Arthur Ward, who I have no idea who that is. But he says this: nothing limits achievement like small thinking, and nothing expands possibilities like unleashed thinking. When I think of small thinking, I think of negative thinking. And so that's the next huge thing with follow-up. We have to really change the negative thoughts that come into our mind constantly when we're getting ready to follow up, when we think about follow-up. So often we want to follow up, but these fears come up in phrases in our mind. So here's a time where I'd like for you to share, if you'd be willing, when you get ready to follow up, what are some negative thoughts that come into your mind that play over and over? What are some common things that keep coming up for you?
That they don't want to hear from us.
Good. That they don't want to hear from us. Very good. I'm sure we all have that. Anybody else?
I think sometimes like, gosh, I hope she doesn't think I'm bugging her.
Perfect. Bugging her, annoying her, irritating. What else?
I loved Katie's this morning about what if they're not getting good results.
Excellent. And even sometimes before someone purchases the product, we can think, what if they don't? If you have someone who you know is very sick or very overweight, or sometimes when I know somebody's really negative and I'm really worried, what if they don't get results? Should I really push this out to them? But anybody else?
I always want people to see me as genuine, and I feel like sometimes if I approach them too many times, they'll see me more as a salesman rather than actually really wanting to help with whatever their issue is.
Yeah, excellent, Tanner. I think that's really true. And that may be one that's more subconscious, but that's a really important part of network marketing. We want to be genuine. We want to be sincere. We don't want to turn into the Plexus salesperson who everybody dreads seeing come. We don't, for lots of reasons. So anybody else before I move on have a nagging negative thought? Okay, something important to think through, because we have some common ones, but your negative thought might not be mine or Tanner's. So you want to think that through. But I want you to just go through this kind of corny exercise with me. And as we think through how important it is that we change our negative self-talk. And here are some words that I literally want you to change that I think are common. When I go to follow up, I immediately think I'm bothering them, or as Erica said, I'm bugging them. I want you to take that one negative word, bugging or bothering, and turn it into benefiting. And say to yourself instead, maybe out loud, if this is a real tricky piece for you, I want to follow up with them because I'm going to benefit them. Maybe it comes up in your mind, I think somebody said annoying. I'm going to annoy them. Instead, turn that around and say, I want to follow up because I'm going to assist them in some way. Another one is we're afraid in some way or another that we feel like we're hounding them, particularly as follow-up goes on, because when you get into the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and on to the 12th time, you start to feel like you're annoying them. Take that word annoy and replace it with, I'm sorry, I messed that up. Hounding. We feel like we're annoying, but we're also hounding them because we've contacted them so many times. So take that word hound and replace it with help. I want to follow up with them this 10th time. We usually don't keep track of how many, because it's going to help them. It's so important. Proverbs tells us that as a man or woman thinks, that's what they'll become. So if we constantly think I'm bugging them, but we go ahead and step over our fear, face our fear, and follow up anyway, if we're thinking I'm hounding, annoying, bugging them, guess what's going to come across? That we are doing those things. So change those negative words and phrases and turn them into a positive. That is not necessarily part of your homework assignment, but I encourage you before you go to bed tonight to take some time thinking of the specific ones that come up in your mind all the time and change them to be something positive. Maybe write them down on a 3x5 card and start saying them out loud. So the two biggest questions with follow-up that I find are these. What do I say when I follow up, and how often do I follow up? Let's remind ourselves that network marketing, above all things, is relationship marketing. And relationship marketing is all about trust, right? So we want our follow-up to be, this relates very much to what Tanner was saying, we want our follow-up to be enfolded in sincerity and really caring about a person, not just their health, but what else, maybe what's going on in their life that's stressing them and causing them not be able to make a decision, or maybe their really difficult financial situation or whatever, okay? And in relationship marketing, I think there's two things we have to consider when we're asking ourselves how often. The first one is, what kind of relationship do you have with them? If you're in a close relationship, in regular contact with them, you can follow up a little more often than if it's somebody maybe on Facebook. Like for me, I have a lot of people from my past who live in other states who I don't see regularly, don't talk to regularly. I'm not going to follow up with them quite as much because I'm in the process of reconnecting and redeveloping that relationship. Hopefully that makes sense. And then secondly, when we're thinking about how often, not only do we think, what kind of relationship do I have with them, but what was the last conversation I had with them? If it was something that was specific about Plexus, and they said something like, I'm going to order in the next couple of days, or I'm going to order as soon as I get paid on Friday, or I'm going to join under those circumstances, then you can follow up a little more, a little sooner than if somebody is just generally checking in. Now, I'm kind of the follow-up queen, and I contacted a girl recently about 3 times in a week, and I used to be pretty close to her. She lives in California, and she said to me in one of her responses, she literally wrote, whoa, whoa, whoa. So it must have come on a little too strong, so I really backed off. And then I asked about her son, not because I wanted to manipulate her, but because I needed to step back and care a little bit about what's going on in her life. So having said that, hang on. What do we say? What do we say when we follow up? And I'll come back to how often in just a minute. When we think about what we say in follow-up, I want to give you another corny acronym that is KISS, K-I-S-S, which stands for Keep It Simple, Sweetie. Very silly, but it's really easy to remember. And you want to keep it simple. Yeah, I know, we're all saying it, turns out, keep it simple, sweetie. But it's easy to remember. We do want to keep it simple. So often the diamonds say that we have a tendency, because we want to educate, we have a tendency to kind of, I don't know if this is really true, but sort of vomit all of our information, and a person is completely lost in the translation. So here are a couple of tips. Ask questions. You know that questions are so powerful. And questions do 2 things. When we ask someone a question, they break down defenses, if someone is defensive, and even if you don't know it, they might be. And secondly, questions help you have insight. They help you know what's going on with the person. I sort of had a big failure with this on Saturday with this girl at this baby shower, because I knew that she has had a month-old baby. She's a nurse. I don't know for sure if she's full-time or not, but I knew she was really wanting to come home. So what did I do? I jumped right into the business opportunity. And in the process of talking to her, I found out, not because of my great questions, but because she was bold enough to tell me she has some very significant health issues. So asking questions helps you to have insight and can guide your conversation so that you are sincerely talking about the things that matter to that person, okay? So questions, simple, like this. Hey, have you had a chance to order yet? They know what you're saying. You say the Plexus Plex combo. Just, have you had a chance to order yet? I remember Jen doing that to me. Hey, how's it going? I knew she cared enough to really mean, how's my life going? But I knew what she meant was, how's Plexus going? So make them really short and sweet. I noticed that you haven't ordered yet, or I noticed that you haven't joined yet. Do you have any questions? Is there anything I can do to help you? I did that with somebody also on Saturday and found out that she had tried to order, she told me, 7 times. She might be like me and was exaggerating, I don't know, but, and she said kept saying she couldn't use that password. And I said, oh, by any chance are you on a phone or an iPad? Yeah, I'm on my phone, we're traveling. Well, it probably works best on a computer. Okay, I'm going to do it when I get home. So I wrote down, my next question was, when are you going to be home? And that was happening today. So I'm going to contact her tomorrow if she doesn't order. Okay, so also you can say, I noticed you haven't ordered or joined. Can I help you? Then another strategy I use is to say to someone sincerely, I've been thinking about you and I wondered. I wondered if you'd like to know how to get your products for less. I wondered if you'd like to know about our BioCleanse, because you had mentioned in one conversation you really struggle with irregularity. So I think that kind of entrance to a conversation helps a person feel cared for. When you say, I've been thinking about you, if you sincerely have, as soon as you do, spend some time thinking about them, so you can say that and be sincere, and then add something that would be specific to their needs and what you know is true about them. And then the last strategy I use a lot is I send a specific testimony. If someone has shared with me that they hate their part-time job, I might find a diamond testimony to send them, or if I know a couple is interested, sometimes I'll send information about a couple, like Jen and Phil doing the business together, or with products. I go and search the best testimony I can get and send it to them privately and just say, really simple, this made me think of you. I don't even say, let me know if you have questions. They know where to find me. And that has been very, very effective with me, following up. When you follow up, a couple of tips. Stay positive, no matter how negative the other person gets. And sometimes they can get negative, whether it's about the product or the business. About a month ago, a gal on my team, Lori, and I were doing a three-way call. And the person on the other end of the call that Lori was recruiting talked a lot. And sometimes that's true and you need to let them talk. But I was trying really hard to listen carefully to the kinds of things she was saying. And in talking, her sentences really didn't have periods at the end. She just kept going. She said very quickly, I know what you guys are doing. People in network marketing prey on stay-at-home moms. Try to get them on their team, something like that. And she just kept talking, and I very abruptly interrupted her. And I said, hey, and I used her name. And I said, could we back up to what you just said? I said, could I apologize if Lori or I have done or said anything that makes you feel preyed upon? And could we just end this conversation now? Because that's the last thing as a Plexus ambassador we ever want to do. That makes me feel very badly, kind of thing. And that allowed her to respond. I can't honestly remember how she responded, other than the fact that we continued to have the conversation. But take those negative things and either address them directly if it's something like that, or find ways to keep the conversation on the positive upturn. When people start telling you all the things that they haven't seen happen, say, tell me one thing that you love about drinking pink. And if they still can't tell you, then I usually end, whether it's in writing or in person, with, that's kind of unusual. Just keep it, if you can't keep it positive, at least keep it neutral. Because you guys know how quick it is for a conversation to take a nosedive, and then you as the ambassador are put in a very awkward situation trying to backpedal out. So keep it positive, okay? If they seem stressed, annoyed, irritated for whatever reason, just find a way to back out of the conversation and leave it for another time. It's probably about their life, the fight they just had with a spouse or the bad day they just had at work, and just find a good way to back out of it. Maybe reach out to them with something that has nothing to do with Plexus in between the next time that you contact them, okay? So let's revisit when, how often kind of thing. If they're interested in a general respect, like my friend on Facebook who's like, whoa, maybe contact them once a week for a while. If they have gotten specific with you about their health need or a product or the business opportunity, maybe every 3 or 4 days. Also, another great thing is to find natural ways to tuck Plexus into other conversations that you have with them. I have a family member that I'm in contact with. She's not family by blood, long story, but I find that my blood relatives, I don't get to have too many wonderful Plexus conversations with for whatever reasons. But I was texting with her last week, and in the midst of a lot of other things we were talking about, I just simply texted, hey, by the way, you seem to love Plexus products. You're spending over $100 a month. Let me know when you're ready to tell you how you can make your commission instead of me, or something like that, okay? That is something I use a lot when I talk to people about the business. I say, you know what, I'm really happy earning commission on what you order, but if you'd like to know how you could earn commission on what you order, I'd love to tell you. and that works well. All right. Before we end, let me look at our time. And before I give you the homework, I would love to have you respond with, let me give you a minute to process about this. In listening to this, you can tell us what your common fear is if you want, but far more importantly, if you'll share with the group, what's one strategy you heard that either is going to help you overcome that common fear, or maybe something you just never thought about doing that you're going to put into practice this week and share with the group, and why that maybe resonated with you. So I'll let you process for a minute. When somebody's got one, go ahead and share.
Mine would be actually following up more frequently, because some of them I've left like 3-4 weeks and then go back and they're just like, what? So that would be for me, like making sure I'm doing it like maybe once a week, twice a week, and going from there, doing it a lot closer.
Good. And remember, when people have done that with you, did you feel annoyed? Most of the time you really don't.
No.
Right. So good job. Hope that really brings you more success and some growth.
Thank you.
You bet.
I would have. Go ahead.
Oh, I would have to say is staying positive. That's the part that that I was nervous about, was when a conversation would take a negative turn, and being able to, stay positive with it, get on like neutral conversations, be able to back out, and knowing that just because, they're having a bad day or whatever, it doesn't mean that it's an opportunity lost. You can just give them their space, say something positive to them, let it be for a little bit, and then check in later. Yep. That's a really awesome strategy.
Excellent. And I think you'll find when you check in later, if you sincerely back out and care about other things, you will have earned the right to be heard. So it's good. Tracy?
I need to go back to the beginning of my list, my contact list, and contact those people that said
I lost
people
you.
that I need to follow up with that said they were going to order like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I've just been crazy busy, but I'm going to make it a point to get in touch with them this week.
That's great. And you just tell them that, because they can relate to that. I've been crazy busy. Sorry, I've kind of neglected you. Sort of put it on you, and ask them, you ready to order? How can I help you? Excellent. Good job, Trace. Anybody else?
I have a question sort of relating to this. Say someone contacts you kind of over and over again for information, and every time you give it to them, they come back saying that you're either wrong or you're trying to make money, that sort of thing. But this is obviously a person who keeps doing this, but she keeps coming back maybe every other day. And every other day I send her another article. Hey, read this one about Candida. And every day she tells me that it's like hocus pocus. And I keep trying to back out of the conversation, but she keeps coming back to me. So what do I do?
That's a tough one. And anybody else is welcome to weigh in. But I would probably, I don't have a whole lot of time to think about it, but I think I would validate what she is saying. Yeah, I am trying to make money. You're right. But that's not the reason I contacted you. I contacted you because I care about your health. Go ahead.
Like she's been coming to me off the bat. I posted about migraines maybe, I don't know, a month ago. And for a month, it's been consistent.
And you keep sending her information?
Yeah. And then, so I recently have been like, just think it over. I said I had to hit a wall when I started. So if you hit a wall, just come back to me and we'll talk it over again. But then like 2 days later, she's back.
It sounds like to me, because I've dealt with this with other people, is that there are people that want our product, but for some reason they've been told, or maybe they don't have the money, or they've been told no, things don't work for them. And so I think it's an inner turmoil kind of thing, because she's the one that keeps approaching you. And when we're scared, we tend to either run away or we blame. And so her reaction sounds like she's blaming you, even though she's really seeking an answer. And if you're in a relationship close enough with her that you can kind of call her out on the carpet in love and say, look, I'm only responding back to you because you keep asking me for information. I'm not going anywhere. And if you know me, you know that the experience in my testimony is true to what true to what I've been telling you. And I can't guarantee anything, and either can Plexus, honestly. It's gonna be her decision, and then she has the 60 days.
Okay.
That's excellent. Yeah. Maybe keep pushing that
Maybe a
60
little more
days.
blunt.
Yeah, that's good. Really good. Anybody else? And I didn't ask for questions. I'm sorry. Does anybody else have questions? Okay, going once, going twice. All right, ready for your homework assignment? Your homework assignment is threefold. The first thing you're going to do is reach out to 1 or 2 people, certainly you can do more, who've asked about Plexus or said they were going to order but haven't. With one, and you're going to reach out to them with one of these strategies. I would encourage you to write those names down before you, as soon as you hang up from this, not hang up, but get off of this meeting, okay? The second one is to reach out to one or 2 people who you've already talked to about the business, and ask to meet with them in person. That's always really powerful, and it's always really surprising to me when I meet with people. I met with somebody not too long ago that was ready to quit the product, and we met, and by the end of it, she said, I'm going to go home and join, and she did. So either meet with them or invite them to an upcoming event that is near you if you have one. I know some of you do not, okay? And then the third thing is to post briefly those responses on the homework post that Jen's going to give us, okay? So any questions about the homework? Pretty clear? Just get names down tonight, okay?
And share this with your teams tomorrow. This is excellent training. I just want to reiterate that you're getting one of the best out there in terms of Sherilyn. Sherilyn has added 19 personally sponsored ambassadors under her. She has over 40 levels 1 through 4s, which she's really assisted in that follow-up to getting customers that turned into ambassadors. She knows what she's talking about, guys. If you will implement this, I promise, and you pass this down to your teams, you're going to see the growth, because like she said, those statistics, and I think, did you touch on that 10%?
No, I wanted to end that way.
Yes.
Should I do it now? Yeah, I wanted you to hear one more statistic. Only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. So be in the 10%, not the 90. You want to be in that 10% where you go beyond 3, and you keep going and going and going until somebody slams the door in your face.
Yep. Awesome. 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 Thank you again, Sherilyn.
My pleasure.
Thanks you guys for being here. Again, it's a testament of your commitment to your business and your passion about Plexus. And when you have those 2 things, you really are unstoppable. It's just a matter of time. Just keep pushing through. Like I said, this will be on the team page later tonight, if not first thing in the morning. Go ahead and share, and then be watching for the homework post.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Bye, guys. Have a good night.